Greetings and welcome to the 8th video in this module. So far in this series on distress tolerance, we have learned a wide repertoire of coping skills and coping mindsets. In this lesson, we will learn another series of coping skills which follow the acronym IMPROVE. So let's get started. The IMPROVE acronym represents another repertoire of possible coping skills. Each of the IMPROVE skills refers to a specific way to make a bad situation better, or at the very least, less bad. The IMPROVE acronym stands for Imagery, meaning prayer, relaxation, one thing at a time, vacation, and encouragement. IMPROVE is not just an acronym, it's also a metaphor. Each of these elements represent specific ways to take a crisis situation and find a way to improve it. This time, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Let's start off talking about the encouragement skill. Encouragement refers to teaching our clients how to become their own best self-validators. If you remember from previous videos, people who have been traumatized have also been invalidated. Why is that? That is because trauma is invalidating, but invalidation is also traumatizing. By definition, if you're working with someone who has been traumatized, they've also been invalidated. And what that means is when one of our traumatized clients is experiencing a crisis situation, they will rarely find enough external validation that they need and crave to help them through that crisis situation. In other words, what they need to learn to do is to become their own best self-validators. The vacation skill refers to taking a temporary break from whatever situation you're in that's causing you lots of distress and intentionally engaging in some sort of self-care until you are ready to re-engage in the situation. That might mean take a walk. It might mean go out to eat. Obviously, this will be different for different people. For some people, it might be do some shopping, although that can also be very self-destructive and dangerous, so be careful with that one. One thing at a time. That's the skill to use when clients are just overwhelmed with so many things that need to be done, so many problems, commitments, deadlines, and they don't even know where to start. So where do you start? Well, one thing at a time refers to making a list, prioritizing, and then focusing on just one item at a time. Relaxation refers to an intentional quieting of the entire body. In other words, activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. Relaxation refers to doing something that will directly and automatically have an immediate relaxing effect on your whole body. And once again, that will be different for different people. For one person, that might be gardening. For another person, that might be a bubble bath. For another person, that might be a deep body massage. Prayer refers to meditation or connection with a higher power, or really any form of spiritual and religious coping. The meaning skill refers to finding purpose in a difficult situation. Think of it this way. Pain without purpose leads to suffering. When we go through tough times, but we can identify some kind of purpose or meaning for why we went through what we did, that pain becomes much more bearable, much more manageable. But when we experience something and we cannot find any reason for why we went through it, now that pain becomes unbearable. In other words, it becomes suffering. So the meaning skill is all about learning to teach our clients to ask some of those deep, philosophical, existential, or maybe theological questions based on your client's particular belief system or value system. For example, what can I learn from this situation that I could not have learned otherwise? Or how can this situation be redeemed or transformed into something positive? Or instead of letting this situation paralyze my life, how can this situation instead inspire me and motivate me or mobilize me, or maybe other people too? Or How can I use this experience to benefit humanity or leave the world a better place? Or does God have a plan for the situation? What is that plan? What is he trying to teach me? And the last skill, it's actually the first skill since we're going backwards, is imagery. Imagery refers to guided visualization such as the safe place exercise, the container exercise, or ride the wave, which we've covered in other videos. There's many ways to engage in guided visualization as a coping strategy. However, imagery can also refer to visualizing a specific coping skill, especially if you cannot physically do it in the moment. Let's just be realistic. We cannot always cope with a specific coping strategy in the moment. So the next best option is to visualize using that coping strategy. For example, the vacation skill that we just talked about. Maybe you can't take a quick break right in this moment, but can you visualize it? Or the relaxation skill we just talked about. Maybe you can't do that relaxing activity that you would like to do, but can you at least visualize it, etc. Okay, once again, we've covered a lot of ground here, so let's summarize what we just learned. The IMPROVE acronym represents another repertoire of possible coping skills. Each of the IMPROVE skills refers to a specific way of making a bad situation better, or at the very least, less bad. Imagery refers to guided visualization, such as the safe place, ride the wave, or container exercises. But imagery also refers to visualizing a specific coping skill when you cannot physically use it in the moment. Meaning refers to finding purpose in a difficult situation. Prayer refers to meditation, connection with a higher power, or any form of spiritual religious coping. Relaxation refers to an intentional quieting of the entire body. One thing at a time refers to making a list, prioritizing, and then focusing on only one item at a time. Vacation refers to taking a break and engaging in self-care until you are ready to face the situation. And encouragement refers to providing yourself with self-validation, especially in the absence of external validation.